Welcome to Real Estate Coaching Radio, starring award-winning real estate coaches and #1 international best-selling authors, Tim and Julie Harris. Real Estate Coaching Radio is the nation's #1 daily radio show for realtors who demand authentic, real-time coaching. Get ready for fluff-free, unfiltered, full-strength honesty about what's truly working to get you into action, helping others, and making money now in today's real estate market. Now to our hosts, Tim and Julie Harris.
3, 2, 1, and we are back. Hey, it's May 27th, and I have to say I have had a fantastic day coaching agents.
Yes,
because
me too.
Everywhere I turn, all of the malaise and the fear and the loathing and probably the day drinking seems to have been to an end, and people are absolutely slammed. Every single coaching call I had, people had an abnormal amount of new leads and new business coming in. And obviously, if not all of our coaching clients are prominently listing agents, so they're going to get a bulk of the business when the market is going to return like it is, rebounding, if anything. But it is so great. And Julie and I have so many wonderful headlines to share with you from all the major news outlets that, frankly, are trustworthy. A lot of them are propaganda. But the ones that Julie and I go to are definitely the ones that I think you guys can rely on as good sources of information. But the moral of the story is the housing market, just as we predicted it would, is coming back, and it's coming back with a vengeance. It's sort of like, it feels like there should be like Jaws 2 music in the background, you know, or maybe Rocky 2. But it is definitely the sensation of relief for many of you, and frankly, as your coach, I'm equally as relieved because it's so great to see you guys feeling optimistic and encouraged again. Look, these government lifeline programs that hopefully all of you took full advantage of, those were not supposed to be, the thing that took you much beyond July. But for many of you who are in action, you probably will not feel an economic slowdown because you can get back in action while you're learning the new skills necessary that the new market will require. But at the same time, there is tons of, frankly, opportunity out there. Mortgage interest rates are really low. Mortgages, the big banks have loosened up again on some of their lending standards after they worked the forbearance deal with the government. So everything right now, you guys have everything is about as good as it's going to be probably for a long time. So take full advantage of it for the next 4 to 6 months. Any great stories from your end of the world?
Well, people are busy. Lots of competing offers, lots of newfound negotiating. Definitely your buyers have got to have it together with their financial situation and know what lenders are putting them through. So, yes, I would caution any of you guys to be showing property without an actual, honest-to-God letter of pre-approval, not just pre-qualification. Make sure your buyers understand what's going to be required of them, particularly if they're going to have to compete, especially if they're not all cash. So, yes, due to the low inventory and the resurgence in the market, it's a pretty competitive world out there. And thus, the listing agents always win.
So what's really great, I have to say, and this happens every single, well, I mean, I'm 50, so the instances of sort of, big black swan events in our lives up to this point have always sort of gone through the same grieving process. Mm-hmm. And what's really fantastic to see is how quick our country is, how resilient Americans are. And really how resilient our economy is, and how resilient essentially
Well, flexible. People are saying, well, okay, I'm going to have to do something else. And getting, pulling themselves out of their basement, out of their malaise, off of Netflix, and getting back to it.
Okay, so I go to a restaurant, and I'm 6 feet away from everyone else, and I'm wearing a mask, but people have adapted. That's what's really cool. That's what's really great to see. Now, look, it's not going to be a snapback the way it was back in February. There still are massive headwinds. We've talked about that endlessly on this podcast. But what we're trying to pass along to you is a real sincere feeling of optimism and excitement, at least through the end of this year. Beyond that, Julie and I's, looking glass gets a little bit foggy, and we can't really see what's going to happen. But we are finding reports, credible reports, frankly, where people are actually saying there's a really good chance that the unemployment rate could drop by, right now it's 25% or something like that. Some people are suspecting that going into next year, the unemployment rate could be cut in half. Now, that's still an enormous number of people compared to that are unemployed compared to just basically 90 days ago. 90 days ago, the unemployment rate was, I think, less than 4%, I think something like that. And now it's 25%. So if we go down to 12.5, 13, somewhere in there percent at the end of this year, it's still really bad. But you know what? It could have been worse, and it could have stayed worse for a long period of time. This is the most optimistic series of news reports from credible sources that we've ever seen. I think a lot of the economists, frankly, are really taken aback by how, again, the word is resilient, that the economy is. But more specifically, when you say the economy, what's the economy? That doesn't really mean anything. It's all of you. It's all of us, how resilient we are, how quick we are willing to adapt. And maybe we don't need all nerfed up. Maybe the folks in the country actually have the basic building blocks of knowing how to take care of themselves, and they'll adapt and they'll push through. And we're discovering, I think, within ourselves and within our friends and our family members, a level of strength and a level of, forward-looking competence that maybe people never thought they had it within themselves. Or certainly if you were... most of us have never really had to have real hardship like what we're hopefully coming out of. Maybe we're about, mid-game in this whole pandemic situation. I actually have been hearing reports that they're now getting optimistic that there might be a vaccine for this damn thing by the end of the year. I mean, that's incredible. If we can actually, if 2020, it'll either be remembered as the year of a series of disasters or a year of a series of miracles. The economic miracle, the pandemic cure miracle, and think of all the things that, just on the most optimistic perspective you can think of, if all the things play out that we're hoping, do with regards to the vaccine and the economy and all the rest of it, that will forever change the pace in which we expect change to happen in all of our lives. Because look, within 90 days, we all decided, hey, you know what? What's this Zoom thing? Okay, I can make this happen. And, people adapted to some, all these new oddities about social distancing. But look, we adapted. We did it. And I'll tell you something else I'm seeing. And I think this is, I've just only picked this up in a couple little places, but I really do get this sense. I think, like after September 11th, there are a lot of people that are coming to the realization that you only live once and you're dead a real long time. I'm seeing and hearing people say things that I had only heard them say, back after 2011. After 2011, people absolutely positively, 2001. After September 2001, people absolutely positively stopped procrastinating going on trips, procrastinating, frankly, having the experiences, maybe buying a sports car, moving up, or, whatever it was. Some people, I remember a lot of people just basically checked out of society and they started, I'm just going to get an RV and I'm going to take a year off. The report that we read you yesterday about RV sales going up, maybe that's anecdotal, I don't know, but that does remind me a lot of September 11th. That does remind me how people behaved afterwards. Have you experienced that?
I remember you and I visited, was it London? But it was New York. It's fairly well after, not too far after September 11th, as well as London. And I remember the feeling of enthusiasm and togetherness. And I was thinking today, because I saw you texted me that about 2001, that it's almost like a forced collective motivation.
Yeah.
And
weird.
How you apply that to yourself, different people, different things, whether that means finally you're going to get in shape. I belong to a bunch of low carb and keto diet things on Facebook, and just people sharing recipes and their victory stories and their pictures of before and after. And a lot of people said, all right, if I'm going to be in lockdown, I'm going to get serious about this because I really have no excuses left. I can do some online workout videos. I can, cook for myself. And so I think that it's manifesting in a lot of different but positive ways.
That's right. And unfortunately, Julie's actually motivating me to work out more at home than I normally would have wanted to.
Sorry.
So it's the trickle down effect or what have you. So these are all, and there's so many more reasons that we're going to be constantly looking for and sharing with you guys why you should be excited and you should be optimistic.
Yes.
Now, do keep in mind, we're not suggesting, because it's impossible, that things go back to the way that they were.
No.
The old normal is never to be heard of again. We can remember it. We'll make movies about it. We might even write folk songs about, the pre-pandemic world. But it does seem that all of us are a little bit more adaptable than maybe we thought we were as we're moving forward. And you guys sense within yourselves the change. Share it with each other. Let your friends and your family know, especially the ones that are too addicted to CNN and the rest of it. Let them know how you're thinking, how you're feeling, what you're observing. We have an unfair advantage with monitoring human behavior because we're in direct contact with literally thousands of you every single day. And so we sort of get snapshots from all different price ranges in all different parts of the world now of how people are thinking, what they're saying, and what's going on in their markets. And I'm just telling you guys across the board, and this has been consistent for almost probably a week, I am feeling and seeing no negativity as far as the market direction. Everyone's becoming very optimistic and very accepting of essentially what the market has to offer them, and they're all over it. I mean, I'm thinking back to a coaching call I had this morning with Rob Johnson. Now, Rob Johnson, he sold by himself $130 million of the real estate last year. And now he's not going to probably sell 130 this year. I think he said he's already closed 30 million, even basically effectively taking 2 months off. But the reality of it is he's getting a new kind of customer. The clients he's working with now are these guys that are in that $2 million price range, which in his market is entry level. So in that $2 million price range, he's seeing a lot of families that are saying, I'm getting the heck out of Manhattan. I don't want to raise my kids here. I'm moving out to Greenwich, Connecticut. And Rob was looking at it the right way. He was saying, you know what? Most of my customers for up to this point in my career have been these sort of luxury and ultra luxury buyers. He sells 7 million, 10 million. He sold one for 50 million. I mean, it's amazing. And those people, generally speaking, wouldn't have a lot of upward movement after they are buying their big trophy mansions, basically. They might buy places in the other parts of the world, and for sure, billionaires have a tendency to do that. But he did not really have a lot of the type of customer where you'd have, you sell them one house and 5 years later another one and then another one.
That's true.
And he was realizing that even though it's a heck of a lot more work, having to work with all these, in his price range, normal price range buyers primarily, he's now seeing that going forward, they are going to create a lot more, essentially business opportunities in years to come. And it makes him feel good because it's giving him more of a sense of security. Sure. So opposed to winning the golden lottery ticket and having this big $20 million sale, he now can have multiple spokes and multiple types of business that he's generating. And how about all the customers, Julie, on Premier Coaching, our clients who are telling us that they're seeing people move to the seashores, and they're having people move out to the countryside. Yeah. And there are all these places, all these markets that had been forgotten about are now essentially seeing these, it's not even a recovery.
That's the most common request. I want a backyard. I want space. Right. I don't want to be in a neighborhood. I don't want congestion. Maybe they say I've got to be within a 45-minute drive, but there's so many communities that are going to benefit from this. And a lot of those communities had been deemed, quote, too far out, too far away, but not so. So we're seeing some houses that are really kick-ass houses that are in, more moderate price ranges. Yep. And a lot of those sellers are benefiting from that. So, I think it's all great.
Rob, again, talking about Rob Johnson, he was giving me an example. And also our other coaching clients we have that are on the Eastern Seaboard, a lot of the people leaving Manhattan aren't, and because they can work from their Bloomberg terminals sitting on their desks, they don't have to be in an office. They're not just settling within the states surrounding New York City. They're actually moving out. They're moving down south. They're moving up north. And there's a lot of people that are saying, well, okay, I have to go in the office once a month. I'm just going to basically live someplace that's maybe a 2 or 3 hour plane flight away from New York.
Savannah, Amelia Island, all of these kind of like second or third market coastal cities that are not outrageously expensive. And you can still, buy something decent that's in good schools and near medical without having to be in the congested city.
So, guys, these are all the reasons why you should be feeling optimistic and you should be feeling excited and grateful, frankly. Look, there's going to be a lot of headwinds. There's a lot of headwinds from unemployment, a lot of headwinds just from all the uncertainty. It's going to be a political year. We're going to have to help all of you guys overcome the objection of, I've got to wait until after the election. That one's coming. Blah, blah. You're going to be experiencing that one come about, August, September. They say that every time there's an election, anytime there's a holiday, but we'll work you through it. But overall,
there's some factors. So, for example, from Housing Wire, the headline is the housing market already rebounding from COVID-19? An update on 5 key indicators that will show when the market is back on track from the pandemic. I thought this was really interesting. These are kind of like early warning signs that things are coming back. Number 1 is a flattened curve, and the report on that, the status, it's close, but stay vigilant, depends on what state you're in. Second factor, end of stay-at-home orders. The status, we're opening back up. Economic recovery is the end of the stay-at-home orders and the reopening of commercial businesses. Then something that we don't talk about that much, but as an indicator, a 10-year yield goes above 1%. That hasn't happened yet, so that's one of the one of the 5 things that we're looking for. Number 4, decline in credit stress and jobless claims. Let's see. The spike was on March 20th, but since the peak, the index has taken a dramatic dive, and they have graphs that show that. And then data from the hardest hit sectors start to trend upward. This has already started. So these are things that economists are looking at, and the housing sector and mortgage sector is all reporting on. So that's some good early warning signs that things are going the right direction. I saw, let's see, this isn't something I can read because it was an actual video from Diana Olick, CNBC, that was talking about housing is her main thing. That's what she reports on. And she was talking about how the numbers just keep on getting more and more amazing week over week with people coming back, new mortgage applications, stuff like that. Refinances are a little bit down, but they're still 176% higher than they were.
You do have to put this in perspective, though, guys. At the start of this year, February being the last, the pre-pandemic housing stats, the home sales in the housing market looked like it was going to be fantastic this year. So you do have a ton of obvious, call it pent-up demand if you'd like, that is now essentially out there buying. But I was clicking around in my, I monitor our different coaching clients, and I was looking to see all their new listings that are popping up, and I was just shocked in some cases. Like, I was looking in Miami. We've got a lot of great coaching clients in Miami, and we have some in particular that work in the condo buildings. And there's obviously way too much inventory down there. It's been a buyer's market down there for quite a while. But the number of new listings down there was shocking. And it's all the sellers, I think, and all the VRBO types that are looking to hit the eject button because they're fearful that there's going to be a return of the pandemic in the fall and that the market's going to readjust. And guys, look, it probably is. Those things are probably going to be true. And, look, I don't want to throw water on this bonfire that we're trying to build of optimism, but once that happens, and if that coincides with some of these mortgage forbearance programs running their course, we will see a decidedly different housing market. It is going to, change in a very negative way towards sellers. And so if you have a seller right now who's thinking that they should wait, they absolutely should not wait. And the simple script is, Mr. Seller, given what's going on in the news, and the economy with the pandemic and whatnot, do you think there's a chance that the house might be worth less 6 months from now than it's worth now? And virtually every seller is going to say there's a chance. And then you obviously say, then Mr. Seller, let's do the smart thing. Let's put the house for sale now so we can take full advantage of this market. And when you do, guys, the houses in most markets are selling themselves.
That's right. And the rest of that script is to protect your equity from the uncertainty of third and fourth quarter. So I think that this is really a critical time. And even, Diana Olick was talking about the same thing. She said the numbers are really stellar right now, but this is a cautionary tale and most likely a big uptake, but not going to last that long.
It's an uptick off zero, though. That's the
thing.
Right,
off of how crappy it was.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
So keep it in perspective. Just kind of like you were saying about unemployment, 12% is still pretty awful, but at least it's going the right direction. It's the trajectory is good.
It's not getting worse is the thing.
Yeah, exactly. So mortgage demand from home buyers shows unexpectedly strong and quick recovery as applications spiked 9% from a year ago. Home purchase applications have risen 54% since early April, remembering that early April was basically a dead zone. But that's been an interesting report. So, and I think that goes hand in hand with what we're seeing from our coaching clients, for sure. Let's see. What else? Here's an interesting little snippet from Zero Hedge. Let's see if I can open that. Over 40% of Brits claim that they have, quote, changed for the better during lockdowns, which we're talking about at the top of our podcast here. Let's see, 2,000 British adults were polled about how their daily lives were transformed because of the lockdowns. About half the respondents said they would maintain newly acquired hobbies, skills, and daily habits in a post-corona world. Love the terminology we're already using, post-corona world.
Yeah, man. I love it. Don't you?
Yeah, 64% that said that smartphones were critical and 57% could not do without television, so that's still solid. But they said 20% said that they slept more during lockdowns. 10% they learned new things from YouTube tutorials. 2/5 of respondents believe these new habits and activities will increase their well-being. And 1 in 4 noticed a more comfortable life that allowed, where did that go? It just flipped. I think it said allowed more time learning what they were interested in, and a lot of reporting about health and nutrition and things of that nature.
I wonder what...
that was interesting.
Have you thought about, Julie, what you will stop doing? Like what, along the lines of that article, So the next question might become is, listeners, what are you going to stop doing that you were doing 90 days ago, right? What is it that you haven't had in your life in the last 90 days that you don't want back in your life?
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
Well,
I'll say needless trips to the grocery store now that we have all of those deliveries sorted out.
No
and
doubt.
Probably all, I mean, it has been interesting to see the people who are doing these little mini deliveries and things like that are generally unemployed or furloughed people that had previously, quote, real jobs in the hospitality industry or with the schools or different things like that. And probably they're going to either keep this as a side hustle and keep on doing it or convert to their newly growing businesses.
That's right.
I mean, you know, the lady that delivers our Costco groceries, she's not just doing that for us. She's got a whole systematized army of people that each take a list. They go and they all stand in line together. They all go on Wednesday morning and it's all delivered by the afternoon.
And she charges us $60.
I will so not go to Costco and stand in that line for $60. Absolutely.
We went to Home Depot to pick up a dehumidifier. And what was that whole experience? Like 2.5 hours?
It was probably 2.5 hours, maybe more. And, plus we had to translate everything, speak Spanglish, and wrangle our way around. But, yeah, that was not a pleasant experience.
No, but,
and Costco lady, by the way, her son does Home Depot runs.
I know, you told me that. But
my list would be unnecessary, time-wasting experiences where I'd rather be at home, spending time with my family, or talking with coaching clients, doing a podcast with you, whatever. But unnecessary things like that.
Well, I was just thinking about, like, I'm trying to think what I'm going to eliminate in my life. And I don't think anything that 60 to 90 days ago that I, stopped doing during the pandemic or whatever. But I will tell you, I definitely have gotten more comfortable doing Zoom presentations.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll definitely be doing more of those. I have no
more
problem.
enthusiastic
We're going to start broadcasting our podcast. That's going to start,
Definitely.
So that's something I think everyone got more comfortable with. I was talking to Brandon Jackson this morning, another coaching client, and he goes to Orange Theory. As a lot of you guys know, we were huge advocates and are still of Orange Theory, but there is no Orange Theory where we live. So now we have kind of sort of created our own, which is also another thing. Yeah. I wonder how many other people are essentially becoming really comfortable with just doing things at home.
Our crappy, torturesome workout is partially from one of the coaches we know from our gym here.
Yeah.
But I also follow some of our old Orange Theory coaches as well.
Yep.
And that's all online. I mean, they'll tell you what to do. You can do it at home. You just have to get a set of weights and, get your cardio going and a yoga mat, and you're 90% of the way there.
Well, Brandon was saying, and he's in North Carolina, he was saying that there only is allowed to be 10 people in the gym at once.
And normally I think it's 24. I think that's right.
So 10 people in the Orange Theory studio at once. No fans. Did I tell you that?
I would die.
They're not allowed to turn on the fans.
I'll tell you right now, I'd be out for that.
Okay, no fans. And the instructors have to walk around basically what amounts to full hazmat suits.
Yeah, that's kind of a diminished experience.
Well, but here, this is again one of these things that we haven't quite figured out yet.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully that doesn't kill them off and they just modify and get used to it. I don't know. I don't know what the solution's going to be.
Because if you are trying to schedule a class at Orange Theory,
whether it was Orange Theory or anywhere else, I always feel like I'm being infected by something at the gym.
You are, though.
Always. It's all like, that was before COVID. I always felt icky after that. Ugh.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I can't have enough hand sanitizer.
That's part of the charm of going to a gym.
I guess so.
Especially if you do floor exercises.
Yeah, ew.
It was nasty.
Yeah.
But the point is how is that business or all the businesses like that going to survive?
I know. Anything, it's just to me, it's a numbers thing where, every business has a certain margin when they're at full capacity or near capacity, and they figured that out, including things like VRBO property, restaurants, gyms, spas, salons. The list is endless. As you've said before, 98% of the economy here is run by small businesses.
Not here, everywhere. In the United States.
That's right.
And so it's like 99%.
Yeah. Well, so if you normally operate at, say, even a 10% outrageously good margin at 100% capacity, if you have to run your business at between 20 and 50%, depending on what the regulations are for your business, there's no way that you're even going to be profitable.
Yeah,
you can't. How long is that sustainable?
Well, so we're in this weird sort of, time where a lot of businesses are going to stay afloat from the government bailouts. They're going to stay afloat from their PPP loans and their EIDL loans and their mortgage forbearances and Maybe they're renegotiating their leases with all these things that are happening right now. But before those things start to really play out, before the headlines start to shift back towards the negative, because it is going to shift back to the negative, guys. That's the nature of it. Make the most of the market that you have in front of you now. And so, Julie, I was thinking, we say that all the time, and coaching clients know what the heck they're supposed to do because we tell them every day.
Right.
But we should, so I always screw up the name. 90-Day Massive Action Plan?
That is correct.
Oh, I got it right. All right, so we are giving you guys the 90-Day Massive Action Plan as part of the free coaching program. Now, just to be clear, the free coaching program is probably no more than maybe 7 or 10% of what the normal coaching program is. That doesn't matter. You still need this. It'll give you an exact day by day, exactly what you should be doing every single day for the next 90 days. That is included with the free coaching program and along with our Ultimate Agent Survival Guide, which includes all the information how you can go about getting your own government bailout programs. So you definitely want to text the word survival to 31996. Text the word survival to 31996. And for all of you who have been communicating with us about joining our EXP team, we have been doing our best to get back with all of you right away, and normally we are. But if we are taking if we don't respond until the following day, please forgive us. We are absolutely interested in talking with as many of you as joining Julie and I on our EXP real estate team, our nationwide team. So all you've got to do, you can do one of two things. If you're urgently ready to join EXP, just text me directly at 512-758-0206. If you're just in the getting ready to get started, learning the process stage, and you're wanting to learn more information about EXP and all the rest of it, then just text the word EXP to 31996. But what all of you must be doing is definitely joining the free coaching program, and we'll send you your credentials to log in. All you've got to do is text the word survival to 31996. Anything else on your mind, dear?
Yeah, I mean, life goes on, right? I'm excited about the big reopening and all the deals our clients are doing. And I think my prevailing thought, though, is still make hay while the sun shines, because all these facts and all the stats remain true, and there's going to be like the next shoe to drop when people realize that maybe everybody can't run at 20% capacity and survive. Then you're going to have a whole ton. I already see, I'll give you an example. Commercial real estate. Okay. So one of our coaching clients had a big deal in contract. I believe that they were on the buyer side, $2.2 million commercial purchase. It was pending during the pandemic, ready to close soon. The lender came back and said, unless you can get it reduced to 1.8 from 2.2, we're not going to lend on it. So because I think it was either restaurant or salon oriented, because they had deemed under their risk management protocol that this was no longer a good risk to lend on. So, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. So you're going to see a ton of commercial real estate come up. Everybody goes to restaurants because we all know the margins are so low. But, when something big goes out, and there's been, J. Crew is an example. You've got a lot of anchor stores that are bailing.
The Mall of America basically has missed 2 mortgage payments. But these are all things, for now, everyone's going to be feeling optimistic. For now, everything's going to feel like it's on sale because the economy, again, this amoebus thing called the economy, but has to sell off the excessive inventory. The stuff that would have been sold that's still sitting in stores over the last 60 to 90 days, all that stuff's going to be sold, and a lot of it's going to be sold on sale because a lot of the cyclical nature of product upgrades usually happens in third quarter. So there's going to be a lot of products that would have otherwise sold in first quarter that didn't sell because of the pandemic, or really second quarter, that are going to now be fire sold in a lot of cases, and then the new products are going to come online. I'm talking about everything you can possibly imagine, from furniture to TVs to computers to just everything. Cars right now. Julie, I sent you an article actually from Car and Driver, basically talking about it says, now is the best time to buy a car. Dealerships have the supply and they're looking to create demand. If you're looking for a deal, this could be your year. Yeah. And I read that some manufacturers are discounting the cars to the dealers by $20 to $25,000 just to get rid of them. Now, you won't go into the dealership and they won't tell you that, but that's really what's going on. Just the money that's going to be thrown to clear the inventory of virtually every business is going to be staggering, and it's going to create a more of a sense of a boom. And but once that all sells off, guys, which it will, and when the new products are being created, they are going to cost more, and then you're going to start most likely feeling the exact opposite. Things are going to feel a lot more expensive. We're already seeing a lot of inflation enter into airlines. For example, if you look at, if you're flying on a plane lately, they've greatly diminished the capacity. In other words, there's so much less supply out there of seats. They're now raising the prices, and you could fly anywhere in the country easily for less than $500. Now that same ticket's going to cost $1,000, $1,200, $1,500. And that's what inflation is. All of a sudden, things start feeling really expensive, whereas before they didn't feel really expensive. And you need to be knowing that that's going to inevitably come down the road. Are you doing a quick Expedia check on? Are you going to do quick?
Depends on where you're going completely. Miami's still cheap from here, but
yeah. Do you want to do? Your mic's not anywhere near your mouth. Do you want to do things you love and things you hate?
Oh gosh, I wasn't prepared for that today.
I know what you love.
What?
You
Tell me.
Okay, I'll do what I love.
Okay.
So Julie and I, as you guys know, are car enthusiasts.
Yes, that's a good one.
Okay.
Mutual love.
We're car enthusiasts, and just today I had delivered to our house down here in the Caribbean a 1967 Mini Cooper S, a real Mini Cooper S, and this one was verified to be real and numbers matching and all of that.
It's so awesome.
And this is something that literally Julie and I have been looking for 20 years.
Yeah.
This is a classic Mini. If you guys don't know cars, our Golf cart's probably about the same. No, our Golf cart is literally bigger. Yeah. So this thing is tiny. It looks like a little clown car. I put a picture of it on our private Facebook page if you want to see it. But it was really fun to sort of see that thing being unloaded from the truck and knowing that little car, 1967. So it started out in England, and it was a right-hand drive, and then it was brought to the United States. I found out from looking through this, folder of receipts. It spent some time in Canada. It's spent a lot of time in Texas. It's lived in Oregon. It's lived in Michigan, and the funny post, or I thought it was funny, after its lifelong sojourn all over the world, with different owners, now it's finally retired in the Caribbean. And
as it should
be. He looks sort of happy sitting in a garage in the picture.
It does. It looks very cute.
It does.
It's always going to love it.
Yeah, but we can't use it until it cools off right now because it's so hot out.
Oh, I know. It's so stinking hot.
And I know another thing you love.
What?
You're forgetting. There's a certain thing that's happening today in a half hour.
Okay, so... and I think that everybody should pay attention to this. This is definitely a historic moment, and that is the NASA and SpaceX, who have partnered with each other. So that's government partnering with the private sector, SpaceX, for the launch of the Crew Dragon is what it's called. There's two NASA astronauts, and they're on their way to the International Space Center. But this is historic because thus far, SpaceX has only been sending rockets up to, give supplies to the space station and stuff like that, which also is historic because that's a private sector delivery, and because SpaceX has taken off so quickly compared to the previous trajectory of other, even, NASA or Boeing. So I think that's going to be incredible. And they're saying, don't descend upon Cape Canaveral. That's what's happening today at 4:33 is the liftoff. They don't want you to show up. I've been to one of those, which is incredible. But if you live anywhere near there's no way you're going to miss it. So look towards Cape Canaveral for our Florida listeners. It's going to be really amazing. And then I believe NASA has some kind of a press conference going on at 7 p.m. tonight where the astronauts should be able to call and converse with how things are going.
How crazy is that?
It's incredible.
By the way.
I think I read, was it 54 miles? I forget. It's some kind of crazy, how can you even fly that high? It is a spaceship after all.
So did you see that Elon Musk with SpaceX redesigned the spacesuits, and it looks something very decidedly from Space 2001?
Yes, it's very cool. Yeah, you guys should check it out. Just go to, what is it, NASA. There's lots of different links for the NASA websites, but they've been having live conferences all day with updates and what's going on and interviews with people. It's quite fascinating, actually. It's really exciting, I mean, what a most bizarre year. You were talking about,
I know, man.
is this going to be a year of drama and disaster? Is this going to be a year of miracles? And one way or the other, it's like a decade of events is being squeezed into just a few months of a year. And we're barely halfway through the year. I mean, it's bonkers, right?
Yeah.
I am grateful that Zoe is old enough to be able to remember this. Okay, so I was thinking about what's my earliest, event memory. I think I remember watching on the TV Carter getting elected. And I remember, you and I both remember when the Challenger disaster, because you were 16 and I was 15. But, I want her to watch that with us. She's a huge Amelia Earhart fan. She fantasizes about being a pilot. So this will sort her out fast if she's serious.
Get this, listeners. Where we live now, we live in Dorado, Puerto Rico. And where we live in this community we live in this Ritz-Carlton community. And there is an actual old runway. And explain to them. Tell them.
Well, so this land that the area is now developed used to belong to Clara Livingston, who also is a very accomplished early female pilot. She actually had a Caribbean airline for a while and delivered different things with multiple planes.
This was back in the 30s or the 20s?
This was in the 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
And she had inherited this land from her father. It was a pineapple grove, I guess you would say, and 1,300 acres. And we walk past their original plantation house all the time on our 6-mile walk every afternoon.
Yep.
But she was friends with Amelia Earhart. And in fact, when Amelia was on her last mission, which was supposed to be the first female pilot flight around the world. Okay, so she left from LA. She had several stops along the way. She stopped right at that hangar to visit with Clara as one of her stops along the route. So that was one of her, unfortunately, last stops.
Was that the last stop before
Not
they
quite
lost
the last. There were a couple of islands that she stopped on to refuel. And they think that that's, they don't know for sure, but they think that's where the crash, that she probably ran out of fuel. There's a lot of speculation about what actually happened, but this was one of the last stops. So that's pretty historic, and Zoe's become enamored with the story and thinks that Amelia is super cool and is very sad that she hasn't been found. So this is kind of like something she's studying.
It's good. And the park, there's a children's park there, but there's an the old aircraft hangar that's still there. Mm-hmm. It's called the hangar. And it is called the hangar,
It's called
right?
the hangar,
Yeah.
and all the sandbox stuff, and the pool has an aviation theme.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
But down the center of this thing is an old runway.
It is the runway, yeah.
It is the runway with blue landing lights on both sides. So in case you are unclear about the history of that particular park, it's pretty spectacular. So listeners, we are optimistic. We are unbelievably happy and thrilled that you continue to make this the number one listened to daily podcast for real estate agents, at least in the United States. It actually might be the world. I mean, who else is crazy enough to do a daily podcast for real estate agents? Nobody,
right?
Just us.
Just us.
And we are sincerely thrilled and happy that you continue to sing the praises of our book that was released. Hey, Julie, do you realize that book came out almost a year ago?
I know. Seems like 100 years ago.
Doesn't it?
It still all applies, though.
Our book is Harris Rules. You can get it, obviously, on Amazon, but you can also get it if Barnes & Noble opens again. You can get it on Barnes & Noble. You can get it everywhere, really. It's for sale. We've seen it for sale at kiosks and airports and things like that, which I have to tell you is an absolute thrill to see that. But in any event, if you don't have the book, it's called Harris Rules. It's got, I think, 400 or 500 5-star reviews. I don't even look anymore, really. But I read the reviews, but I don't pay attention to the stars. I mean, once you cross 300, I think the point's made. It's a good book.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you guys need us for anything, please always know that we're here for you. We're going to get through this together. We are your wingman. We are your partners in this process as we go from the old world to the new world. And I think you are all, I have to say, I'm so happy. For those that we're in real direct contact with, I'm so happy. I'm so thrilled. And frankly, I'm so honored to be your coach and see all of you guys push forward and adapt quickly and realize that at the end of the day, you have to basically take what the market's willing to give and be grateful for the opportunities that you have. So here's your homework from today's podcast. Please do share this podcast with as many other people as you can. Please also consider giving us a 5-star review on iTunes. Please do always remember to show appreciation for everyone in your life that you should be showing appreciation for. We were showing appreciation to you guys today. We're showing appreciation for the great things that are happening right now in housing and in the economy on a whole. I ask for all of you to take that same energy and pass that forward to all the people in your life that might be needing a little bit of spike of optimism, and you can be that for other people. There's no reason to believe that we're not going to have a really great run of things for at least through the end of this year. So make the most of it. Let people know that this is going to be something that might be the last hurrah of the seller's market, and make the most of it. Get all your ducks in a row. Prepare yourself. And look, let's just say it's 6 months from now, or it's a year from now, it's 12, whatever. And the economy is somehow rebounded, and Julie and I were right. This is essentially going to be the year of miracles. And Zoe's trying to FaceTime Julie. It's pretty hilarious.
She keeps on trying. She doesn't give up. She's a good follower-upper.
She's going to be a good prospector.
Definitely.
Right. So this is a year of, if this is the year of miracles, and next year is something that no one would have predicted as far as an unbelievable rebound in the economy and whatnot, just know that your optimism and how you're behaving amongst other people will have contributed to that. So it's time for you to get out of your bunker mentally and emotionally. It's time for you to stop the day drinking, right? Yep. Polish up your skills and go out there with, granted with your face mask on, and let's attack together. Let's make the most of this together so that when the end of the year comes, and if things are indeed slower and things are, we're dealing with the pandemic 2.0 or whatever else, worst case scenario starts rolling in, at least you'll have some money in the bank. At least you'll have some new customers. At least you'll not be worrying about money, and you won't be in a, essentially a financial state of destitute. So make the most of it, guys. Be very practical. Don't be spending a lot of time right now doing creative things and wasting time. You got to be putting yourself in a position to make money. Help people making money. That's the deal right now. That's where your focus has to be. If you guys need us for anything, reach out. God bless all of you. Have a fantastic day.
This program has been a presentation by Tim and Julie Harris, Real Estate Coaching. For more information on our real estate coaching and training programs, visit our website at timandjulieharris.com. Remember to tune in weekdays at noon for upcoming shows. And until next time, thank you for listening to Real Estate Coaching Radio with Tim and Julie Harris.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.